Welcome back all you sufferers of nerfitis. It's Andy Work here. I am back with my next build, finally, after a lot of man cave redoing and organising the feature fan build for Captain X and dropping angle grinders on me. That was not fun, that part. Anyway, so I'm back with my next build and here's my starting piece. I got 4 of these from a guy recently. This one is without internals, which is fine because it's going to have some major mods. And the inspiration, the reason I chose the long strike is because the pistol grip is same as the drawing that inspired it, which is just here. As you can see, it's very, very cool. I'm just calling it a plasma rifle just to call it a plasma rifle, no other reason. But what I'm planning to do is I'm going to put flywheels in it. It's going to be bullpup and it's going to be pretty specky. I've been playing around with, I took some photos of this and a few other bits and pieces that a few other guns that I want to incorporate into it, and I've been doing some photoshopping, and this is what I've come up with. As you can see, it's an amalgamation of lots of different stuff. There's been a lot of stuff online about the Ultra. I think it's 2. Yeah, one of these. How the flywheels are off center, and yep, that's the case with mine. I don't know if you can see down there. The flywheels are not only off center; they are not parallel to each other. So what I'm going to do with this is use this as my battery box for this, and that's going to go down there somewhere, as you saw in the drawing. The battery box is just going to go there, and being a bullpup, I need a pusher or something, but to avoid all that nonsense, I'm simply going to chop the center section out of this Hyperfire and whack it in there. Then I've got another couple of these. Sections of that body will go over here to detail it. This will get cut out so it's this same hexagonal profile all the way along. And then finally, the last thing I'm going to add is a little bit of Raptor Stripe Magnus. Something, this whole section, something like that, I would hope. Maybe even taking it up to there. I'm not quite sure yet, I've got to make that fit, but that still gives me the top to play around with on another build. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull this Ultra 2 apart, see how everything goes together. These days, Nerf, I don't know if they're doing it to be nice to modders or just because it's cheaper, probably just because it's cheaper, but they're making things multi-part, so it definitely looks like this pistol grip falls away from the body when you pull it apart. So I'm hoping other things do too. So let's get on and pull some screws out. While I'm doing this, I'll just say it again. Thank you to everybody who's been very supportive in the comments about me taking over featured fan builds. Thank you to everybody who subscribed, which is great. Love it. Now, okay. Yeah, I thought so. Definitely. There's always a screw inside the battery box with Nerf stuff, isn't there? Okie dokie. Pretty straightforward. Yep, okay. So the pistol grip is separate, the orange battery box and barrel are separate, so that will be good because I'll just be able to just snip that there and just wire it straight in. I mean, you could easily fit a couple of 9 volts in there. Not that I'm going to make it an 18 volt gun, just be, you have a lot more sustained fire with 2 9s in, I think it's called parallel, I'm not sure, parallel, yeah I think so. I'm also planning to do something pretty, well, I don't know if it's pretty specky, but I haven't seen it before. And I'll tell you a bit about that later after I do some tests and stuff and see what's happening. Right, I've decided with this build also not to procrastinate too much and think and think and think. I've got an idea of what I'm going to do and I'm going to do it. So hence lots of screws flying everywhere and lots of wires being cut. I do like the way they've done this because it gives you the opportunity to do things like that. Just pull out a whole unit, use it any way you want. It's pretty cool. So there I've got my, and for want of a better term, I'm just going to call it my front bit. I don't know how I'm going to use it at the moment. But it's definitely going to be the battery box, because it's already a battery box. So that's useful. See, what I'm planning to do, you might have noticed it in that drawing I showed you, somewhere around here there's a gap in the body and it narrows down. So I'm thinking of actually taking the cut line there and maybe there, because I don't need the magazine well. What I'll do, I'm getting pretty good at this 3D modelling junk, and I'll make a piece that fits there, make a joiner and just repeat it on the same side, so I can actually have that in the same position but with this detail bit in the centre, and then another piece, maybe off another one, on the front as just a short muzzle extension. The first thing I really need to do is work out how to get this into there, because if you look at it where the barrel is, it actually has to come up. I want it to come through this here, so it has to be about that high. So the magazine is there. I mean, I could do something like canter it, so I don't have to cut any of this and you just put the magazine in from the side. That's an idea. That might be a simple way of avoiding having to completely cut that off and work out how to join it again if this goes in at like a 15-degree angle. And that would probably facilitate reloading anyway. I mean, if it was a real gun, it'd probably be designed to click either side for left and right, but yeah, that's not going to happen. So I'm thinking I might do that. So what I'm going to do is pull this thing apart, get pieces everywhere, and see what I can come up with. Right, we've got the Hyperfire open, and now I remember there's screws on the inside as well, because I don't want to cut too much plastic away, but it looks like I'm going to have to use a lot of this grey, especially right up to about here, because I need that supported. I've been toying with the idea of, to reduce how far that sticks out the back, I've been thinking of turning the whole thing so it's facing forward, but then just reversing the wire so it still runs the right way. So that's another thing I have to think of. But first I've got to see if I can get this blue off this grey. It looks like the next step is to pull all this out. Of course I've been a complete idiot talking about using these flywheels from the Ultra 2 when I've got these built in, you know. Duh! I think I might try it for Homer Simpson. Okay, so, and I can bypass the trigger and everything, because that'll just be an electronic switch to go up to that, and that will feed in, and then I've just got to have a barrel, you know, long enough to get all the way through there. But so next step is to get all this stuff out, so I won't waste any more time on camera. Well, happy news! I took this side off and this one just popped off. It looked like the glue didn't even contact the inside plastic. Oh, that's a lock I want to get rid of. So, and it looks like I don't actually need the blue, even though it sits just something like that. That grey hole holds the rear end of the conveyor belt, like so, and it clicks into the grey here. So the blue is unnecessary, so I'm going to get rid of it. Well, not get rid of it, keep it for another project. So all I need to do now is cut along there and cut along there roughly, because that's the 4 mounting points for the little motor. So just behind there, maybe even come down straight line, like that, and a straight line up there, and away to the bandsaw. Right, so there be my magazine well. Now, what I've discovered in cutting it, I've only got one real good contact point up the top there at the front, so there's a lot of movement, but I'm pretty sure once I put this in, it'll help lock it into place. Yeah, okay. So with that magazine well in place, it locks it all in place. So the next thing is to put all the internals back in and work out how much more I can trim off. But so that goes there like that. So not a lot in this area. In fact, bugger all. So take off that. Probably get rid of that. Now, through sheer genius, I've cut off the front mount for the flywheels. But I've got the back ones, and when that's all sandwiched together, I'm guessing it'll hold it reasonably in line. Yeah, actually it looks pretty good, so that's fine. So I know now that the mounter mount's going to be fine, it'll sit there. This back bit's got to be trimmed a bit, not a lot, so I'll do both of those. Just cut those two bits off and go on to the thinking part of this exercise. Right, bench grinder's just winding down, and just smooth that off. Should smooth that off too. That's pretty good at the moment. So there's our magazine insert. Now step 2 is to work out how to fit it in here. So that's where, wow, that's pretty close. We're going to have some problems here. I'm going to have to do something about that. I was planning on having it go in directly through the back there, right in the centre, so keep it in line with that, make it a lot easier on myself. So I'm going to have to break this down into sections. So that's 1, getting that in there. That's 2, bifurcating that and putting an insert in. 3 will be attaching this in the lower handle, and then just basically the cosmetics of it all, and the painting. Alright guys, that's it for now. I've got to go and do a lot of thinking, a lot of measuring, and get on with some other projects as well. So, talk to you again soon. Bye bye.